Happy Saturday, and welcome to the Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you'll learn a modern Satsang technique for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie. I've been practicing Satsang for 14 years. During that time, I've experienced more happiness and joy in my life, and I've certainly experienced more peace. I hope that you will have the similar or better experience. Today, I will be introducing the events facilitator for this weekend workshop. But first, I'd like to give a brief introduction to this weekend workshop. If you direct your attention towards your screen, you'll see the first element, Satsang. Satsang is a modern scientific technique for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. It requires no physical skill, previous spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin its practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Thus, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element, meditation. Meditation is an important element of Satsang. When we meditate, we withdraw our consciousness from worldly objects, direct it inwards, and focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to achieve higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The next element, inner orientation. There are two types of satsang, outer satsang and inner satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior, but it's only through the practice of inner satsang that we can achieve higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The satsang that you will learn today is an inner satsang where we meditate in silence. Group orientation. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we practice group meditation, our focus is improved and our progress along our personal spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul, but it is only through the practice of inner satsang that we can obtain joyous states. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness is increased, ultimately culminating in a state of joy, which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions, the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, instruction will be given on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to give a brief introduction to the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He's the grandson of Guru Maharaj. He was born into a satsang family where he experienced his relative obtain states of enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling throughout India with the mission spreading satsang. And upon arriving here in the United States, both he and his wife continued conducting satsang for satsangis. During his time here, he has added innovation and has led efforts to translate Hindi documents and literature into English, thereby making satsang more accessible for Westerners and English speakers. He currently travels throughout the United States and India conducting satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
I'm Sanjeev Kumar, and my grandfather, Guru Maharaj, Dr. Chaturved Sahaiji, who established Ramashram Satsang Mathura in 1930, established satsang, a pretty unique guided meditation practice. Since 1930, he just opened up the doors for everyone and anyone who was interested or who wanted to get to the higher level of consciousness and what I would call the state where light, love, and peace is pervasive. Let's talk about that. Sometimes I refer to as positive energy. Is energy negative or positive? Energy is a zero-sum game. Probably started there, but then there was positive and negative energy, like ancient times. Maharishi Patanjali, when he started researching how we can achieve higher level of consciousness, what he realized was there are two energies operating within us, he observed. So what he observed was that there was a fast moving dark energy which was rapidly flowing downwards. And then there was also a subtle, slow moving, but positive energy moving upwards. So he found that there were this dark negative energy moving downwards and this positive but slow moving energy moving upwards. It's very interesting that progress, if you look even in material terms in workplace, climbing up the corporate ladder, and you would always see that progress is referred to as vertical, moving up or moving down. So he found that to move up our consciousness, there is a positive force that slowly moves you up, but that's usually very feeble and very slow moving. The dark energy is very rapidly moving downwards. So in the world, what we will find is that there are more people who demonstrate that dark, negative energy that's moving downwards, pulling down. So a lot of people come to me and say, hey, how do I follow this practice? How do I stay at higher level of consciousness, or even follow this method of meditation, or follow the guidance and do the guided meditation? Because most of the time I interact with people and I'm pulled down again and again and again. So does it really affect me positively is the question. So we need to understand that yes, those two forces or energies are within us. And then there is also a blend of this dark and more bright two of these energies. There's a blend. It's not totally dark and it's not totally bright, but it's a blend. And that blend also affects us. So at one point in time, one of these states, one of these three, is dominant within us. So sometimes when we close our eyes, we feel positive. Sometimes we're feeling that we're down in the dumps. And sometimes, it's ambition and it's like, I want to do this. And there is action orientation, which is part of the effect of the blend of these two energies. So the idea of meditative practice is to literally feed or enable or enforce this positive, upward moving energy to become stronger. And all meditative practices essentially do that. So that is why it is so important for you to follow a meditative practice, because otherwise you yourself are under the influence of the dark and negative energy, which is rapidly pulling you and others down. And that's what we see most of the time in effect in the world. But then any practice that you do to rise your consciousness, rise your awareness, helps make the positive energy the uplifting energy to be stronger. So the reason I would like all of us to follow satsang or any other meditative practice which raises your consciousness and awareness level to be integral to your lifestyle, because that would balance, that will bring balance in our lives.
Welcome, everyone. We talked about the 5 steps again. Maybe we should just quickly revisit, and after the session, maybe talk about some of the core aspects of those 5 steps. I think there were 2 things that were running in my head today. So, Yuan, if we could bring the 5 steps. Yeah. We do talk about light, love, and peace, as that's what we would get if we continue to deepen and broaden satsang practice. So interestingly, when I looked at this pyramid again, so if right at the top, above the 5 levels, was the ocean of peace, the second one, the realm of love, would be the unconditional love, pure love. So peace at the top and absolutely pure unconditional love in the realm of love. And the knowledge is also light. I mean, in the light we see clearly. So that's pretty much, interestingly, is light, love, and peace. That kind of describes the top of this pyramid in some ways. So that was one thing, that when we talk about light, love, and peace, it's actually, that's what you would embody if you reach those stages. The second thing was that when you turn towards exploring your purpose, exploring who I am, exploring how I can be more self-aware, more think about consciousness, as soon as you do that, you move from the realm of the world into the realm of life. And typically, as we have been talking about, like breathing exercises, chanting, pilgrimage, reading scriptures, any effort, quote unquote, like when you make an effort, because I always tell people that effort versus effortless. So meditation to me is going from effort to effortless. So realm of life is where physical activity is important. It is the focus, and the physical activity then takes you to a point where you realize that your mind is getting concentrated. So if you're chanting, for example, or if you're even go to the church, if you actually don't get distracted and you are in it, then you find that you are calming your mind. So as soon as you realize that the effort that I'm making is actually calming my mind, so then you cross the realm of life into realm of mind, because now your focus becomes, how do I go further in from calming my mind to more almost like controlling or toning my mind. And that is where your focus becomes the mind itself. So manifestations, concentration, and deep effortless meditation, quote unquote, becomes the focus. So that's the realm of mind. And when you actually get into those deeper states where your mind is unwavering, you suddenly realize things that you were not realizing. So some dormant intellectual capabilities show up. They just show up. And that's the realm of knowledge. you now start perceiving very abstract things. He's saying that you think through situations more neutrally and use reason. I think the way I would describe it is that when, with my mental powers that I gained in the realm of mind, I look at any subject, any object, anything that I have to process with my brain, I suddenly find that I have like a lot more clarity than ever before. And that's realm of knowledge. When I am able to realize that love thy neighbor is actually not just a statement, it's my internal state, then my love for the environment, the caring, the compassion, the kindness, and all that, it's your another maturity step, and how I am interconnected with everything in my environment. And that just opens up my inner being to this out of body experience. And then I'm at peace. So, a very quick description of how we mature through this pyramid. And the reason I love this, other than like it just talks about like how you focus from body to focus on breathing, to focus on the mind, to focus on your brain, to focus on your identity and resolving your ego into the bigger entity beyond us. And that's like literally in my view, the definition of higher consciousness. So all this, just one of the aspects I like about this is that it kind of inherently shows that one, we can improve, two, there is a long way to go for all of us to just continue the journey and go deeper or go higher on the pyramid, so to say. All right, on that note, let's practice. And then I think I would like to at least have some discussion on this today after the session. So, standard approach that Guru Maharaj perfected, and basically not only concentrates your mind, but gives you a glimpse of the realm of knowledge in the sense that of light, in which you quote unquote enlighten your inner being. And then by becoming one with that, you are moving towards the realm of love, as well as becoming an observer, which is so essential to this accent, to moving upwards. Relaxed posture, eyes lightly closed, and think of this transcendental light in front of us that's entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and that we are becoming one with this energy, one with this light. Mind wanders away, then bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that this light is in front of us, entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are getting completely immersed in this light. We'll have music before the meditation and after for transition in and transition out. Let's start now.
Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, Sanjeev could not be with us today. He has some urgent matters that he had to take care of. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to give a brief review of some important points mentioned during his lecture. Afterwards, you can ask questions by unmuting yourself or post your questions to the chat, and we'll have Sanjeev answer those for you at the next session. I also asked if Shivangi, if any questions are posted to the chat, if she would read those out loud. So there were two basic topics Sanjeev discussed today. And the first one was that our goal is to ascend to higher states of consciousness, and that there are two forces primarily in play. There's a very fast moving force that's downward, and there's a slow moving force that's upward or ascendant. And the downward force is essentially what we're mostly affected by now. Most of you know that downward force by another name, and we call that Satan. And so that's the downward force that he's mentioning. It manifests this way. It manifests itself in different ways in this world. Meditation supports that upward moving force. And by practicing satsang and meditation being a part of that, we increase that upward force, and we also bring balance to our lives, which means that we're not just participating in the downward force anymore, the satanic forces, but we're also participating in those ascendant forces or heavenly forces, right? And then he talked about this second lecture. He talked about the 5 steps to nirvana. And he gave an example of in the realm of life, that being attending church and attending pilgrimages, and realizing that through those efforts, we obtain peace. And then the next logical or next natural transition is to the realm of mind, which is where we are today, which is where you are today. And so this becomes not so much an effort anymore, through the pilgrimage or through outer rituals, which we associate with outward satsang. But now you approach this world of inner satsang where it becomes effortless, and you just sort of sit and you merge yourself with light. And by doing that, now you can ascend to these higher states of consciousness, which he mentioned, or enlightenment, peace, light, and love, which peace and love are associated with the highest step in that pyramid, which is the realm of love. And then the light, which is knowledge, we experience in the fourth step, which is the realm of knowledge. So we'll open this now to your questions. And again, I said we'll record those, and Sanjeev will answer those at the next session. So please ask your questions.
Lou's here. Good. Well, I was going to say good morning, but happy Saturday, everyone. Always great to meditate with you all. I guess my question is, when you are trying to perceive these forces inside, right, the ones going up and the ones going down, sometimes, if you're really getting in touch with the energy inside, it doesn't always feel like something's going up or down. Sometimes it feels like it's stuck somewhere, like in your heart or in your belly or in your head. How do you know which force is what? Like, how do you actually consciously perceive those energies? That's my question. And happy Saturday, everyone.
Thank you for your question, Luz. Is there anyone else?
Happy Saturday, Brother Eddie, Luz, and everybody. So good to be able to join again. I mean, just a thought that came to me, as Sanjeev Bhai often says, that when we're trying to meditate, and I'll just quote what he wrote. He said that satsang is the transcendental energy that will empower, transform, and enlighten us. So, whilst the process of allowing oneself to receive the transcendental energy, Sanjeev Bhaiya often says that one should try and surrender, as he was saying in his talk just before the process of satsang today. That one should try and allow one's ego or to become part of the greater consciousness, to merge one's own ego into the greater consciousness. So it appears that the process of satsang should allow us not to actively want to feel that, Luz, but to allow oneself to become a receptor of that energy without making an effort. Again, he often says, try and make this process an effortless process. So if we're making any effort to perceive whether the energy is going up or down, then we're, to me, to my humble mind, we're trying to make an effort again. And any effort perhaps takes us away, if you will, from that receptive mode where we are doing nothing and simply allowing ourselves to receive that energy, that transcendental power, the force that enlightens us within from within. And it is much like allowing the dust that settles in a home that we cannot see normally, and the sunlight hits that dust, and we can suddenly say, it needs a bit of cleansing process. So to me, and I may be completely wrong in this, but satsang is a cleansing process where one receives rather than tries to make an effort to understand the process. The very act of understanding the process whilst we are in a meditative mode may actually interfere with that. Eddie, your comment and thought would be greatly appreciated, brother.
I think you gave some illumination, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to mention some of these other questions. There was one here in the chat about what is Chintan, and how to do Chintan when I am doing a mental work. So if Shivangi could record that, that'd be great.
I'll do that, Eddie. Yeah, I have it done.
Okay. Thank you, Arvinji. Is there anyone else who had any questions?
I'll ask a question. Hi, Eddie. Hello, Arvinji. So in the video today, we heard from Bhayaji. He talked about three energies: the positive, the negative, and the blend. So I often wonder about the blend of energy, the thumb. Is that right? Is that what it's called? Raj. It's called Raj. Sorry. So how does that play into our meditative practice? And so are we trying to, like, with this practice and being in satsang, are we trying to move all our energy towards the 100% positive energy, or are we sometimes in positive, sometimes in the blend? And like, what are we aiming for? And like, how should we orient ourselves when it comes to the blend as well as the positive energy?
Yes. Thank you, Shivangi. And, just to add a little bit to that, obviously the meditation, we're to immerse ourselves in that light, that transcendental light. And that does support the upward moving force. When we enter that mixed blend, where Raj becomes a factor, that's just part of the transition, part of the process. And there we feel like we're not making any progress anymore, and we start to experience doubt, but you have to keep working through that by practicing the meditation or attending satsang. So it's a normal part of the process, and it's actually a positive indicator that things are working well for you. So, nothing to be afraid of. It's part of the process. Are there any other questions? Let me just say, you may have some more questions, but let me just say that the 5 steps to nirvana is a very important concept, and it's very instructional because, no one ever really kind of told me before what is my composition, what is the constitution that I'm made up of, right? We go from this very subtle state of energy, which we associate with the realm of love, into this physical embodiment, and I never knew what that looked like before. And so when he describes these 5 steps to nirvana, it basically describes our makeup, who we are. What is mind? Where does mind actually exist? Because it doesn't exist in the brain, right? That's a physical organ. So mind, as we can see, is a very subtle energy, and it appears in this realm of mind, which is above the realm of life, and certainly above the realm of the world, which we associated with physical things. So this is a very powerful concept. Our construct is 5 steps of the pyramid, and he'll go into more detail about it, and it'll be very interesting. So one of the things that I encourage you to do is really to kind of hang around and learn more about these 5 steps of this pyramid, because it just gives clarity to where you came from, understanding where you came from, how life in general was formed. And with that understanding, you understand more about, or better, how we can return back to the source we came from. We all have questions about why are we here? Where are we going? And how do we get there? And the 5 steps to nirvana really helps us to understand that and describes the process of how to do it as well. So hang around for that. If there are no more questions, I guess we can wrap up. But if there are any more questions, go ahead and ask those now. Oh, okay. So I guess we can wrap up here. That's maybe 5 minutes early, but that's probably okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Again, this is a journey. Being here every week is important because you speed your progress along your spiritual path. You expedite that. And so by attending regularly, you can achieve your results much faster. So thank everyone for coming. And again, Sanjeev will be here next week to answer your questions. And so we'll see you then. Thank you. Once again, have a good day, everyone.
Stay. Thank you.